Former Minister of Aviation, Osita Chidoka, says the federal government was not allow Emirates Airlines to resume operations in Nigeria without being held accountable for, in his words, disrespectful and demeaning conduct. In October 2022, Emirates Airlines suspended flight operations to Nigeria over its inability to repatriate $85 million in revenue trapped in Nigeria. In the same month, the United Arab Emirates immigration authorities announced a ban on visa applications from Nigerians. However, on November 19, 2023, current Minister of Aviation, Festus Keyamo, said Emirates Airlines would soon announce the exact date of their resumption, adding that the federal government was working on some details concerning the resumption. Reacting to the development in a statement on Wednesday, Chidoka said the return of the airline to Nigeria is a sad reminder of the deepening lack of national pride and the growing irrelevance of Nigeria in the world. In his words, Chidoka further stated that the audacity of the airline to return to Nigeria reeks the contempt and disdain towards our nation. Meanwhile, on Tuesday, another foreign airline, Turkish Airlines, abandoned passengers at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos without any form of apology. Joining us now on the show is Osita Chidoka, Nigeria's former Minister of Aviation, on One Issue. Good morning and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Well, Osita, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Well, Ayo has summarized your position on the proposed return of Emirates Airlines. And you were raising questions about sovereignty, about how Emirates Airlines and is it the Mudabala group abandoned Nigeria during a difficult moment, and that, you know, they acted in a contemptuous manner. We have heard that. But are you aware that Festus Keyamo has also responded to you? And Festus Keyamo, okay, let me look at what he's saying here. He says to demonstrate, that's him talking to you, your patriotism, sincerity, and fidelity to the touted Nigerian pride. The big puzzle is, why did you fail to similarly advise your boss, principal, and mentor, Atiku Abubakar, to immediately relocate from Dubai to Nigeria and sell off all his assets there in protest when the ban on visa and flights were announced? Hypocrisy has never been this audacious. So he accuses you of hypocrisy. Then he says he's also curious that you, as a member of the think tank of the PDP, that your election strategy at the time, popularly dubbed the Dubai strategy, was hatched in the same Dubai and not in Nigeria before the ban was announced. Why export a purely Nigerian project to Dubai if you love Nigeria so much? And then he goes on and says the Tinubu government is committed to fostering good relationship with major partners around the world, and that if Emirates returns, Air Peace Airline, which is a Nigerian flag carrier, we also get the opportunity to return to Dubai. And he concludes by saying, I wish your PDP to work harder to regain power in 2027 and maybe resume your hostilities with the UAE authorities thereafter. In other words, he says the Tinubu administration is not pursuing a policy of hostility that you recommend. This is the latest development in this matter. So, do you have anything to say to Festus Keyamo's response?
Yeah, the first thing is, I really don't want to respond to the Honorable Minister because my position had nothing to do with politics. Elections are over. The Minister should grow up. We're now in a time of governing.
You mean he's a child?
He's behaving like a child. He should grow up. He should know that the elections are over. If that is what got him his ministerial job, he shouldn't continue it after becoming a minister. He should face the substantive issues. The major substantive issue is that President Tinubu went to Dubai on a technical stopover, met with the Dubai government, spoke with the Crown Prince, and came out and issued a statement from his spokesperson saying the visa restrictions are hereby removed. They will announce the date of resumption. And unnamed UAE official went to CNN and told them that is false, that we did not agree on that. The government reversed itself in September last year. In March, another SA to the president issued a statement saying, we have resolved this issue. Again came back a few hours later and said, no, it hasn't been resolved. And Emirates, in their own time, in their own way, didn't even say, well, this conversation is going on. The timelines will be released further. Because they must have had a discussion with our president. Why embarrass the president? Why treat us with such contempt? That is, for me, an egregious behavior. Emirates banned 20 countries going to Africa. They operate 26 flights every day to Africa, minus Lagos, where they have 2 flights and Abuja 1. None of the 20 countries did they stop operation after the visa ban, telling me that the visa ban was targeted at Nigeria. The other 19 countries they mentioned was just a farce, just to create the impression that it was a widespread thing. Only in Nigeria did they cancel their flight operation. They continue to go to Uganda. They continue to operate flights to Rwanda. Kigali has almost 308 slots monthly to Dubai. It was continued. Etihad was going. Emirates is going. Doha was, Qatar Airlines continued to fly to Rwanda.
That the problem was about the repatriation of funds from
Nigeria.
About $85 million.
Yeah, I'm coming to that.
And also Nigerians abusing visa opportunities.
That's not the problem. Emirates, as an airline, decided that Nigeria was owing them. Now, the top 5 countries owing airlines in the world, Bangladesh, Algeria, Pakistan, Lebanon, Emirates did not cancel operations to those countries. They were being owed in these 4 countries. So what is the rationale for Nigeria? Emirates is the wealthiest airline in the world. What is $85 million to Emirates? They continued to pay their staff salaries in Nigeria. They didn't stop paying their staff salaries. They continued to pay their rents because they knew that they would come back at some point. I believe that Emirates decided that they didn't want Nigerians in Dubai during their Expo and decided to do that ban to stop Nigerians from coming, arguably for criminal behaviors or for some issues with Nigerians. But to now tar brush the whole of Nigerians. Meanwhile, while the ban was on, visa ban was on, they invested almost $225 million into Nigeria in that same year that the visa ban was on. So I am saying that Nigeria as a country should refer to logic. We should treat things with seriousness. Why would a country embarrass our president in this contemptuous manner, embarrass Nigerians in this contemptuous manner, and then just waltz back into Nigeria? We're resuming flight on October 1. We will announce the details. No word on the visa restriction. No word on the visa ban. They didn't cancel their flights to the 26 slots they have in Africa. Of the 20 countries they banned, they didn't cancel flight any. Of the 5 countries, top 5 countries owing, according to ITA data, they didn't stop flying to any of the other 4 except Nigeria. What do you make of this type of information? So I am not saying we should fight Dubai. I'm saying that we should respect ourselves. We should behave in a manner that other countries, no matter what are the challenges with Nigeria, the people of Dubai, even the Americans, did not ban Colombians from coming to America because Colombians are the drug exporters to America. We know that the world drug places, we know the locations where it comes from. Nobody has banned those countries as a whole. But they target the people who are drug lords. They target the people who misbehave and ban them from coming to their countries.
All right. So let me ask you, and I hear you very clearly, what would be the justification in terms of, or shall I say the boldness or the temerity for a country like the UAE to put a ban on a people based on, what they've mentioned, what they've cited, and now you've debunked that because you've made comparisons with other places in similar situations. I'd like you to share that. And then number 2, alternatively, what would have been your response? Because you have criticized the government opening their arms and welcoming Emirates back. What would have been an alternative solution to this? And finally, just because I want to read your statement, you said that during your time as aviation minister, Emirates enjoyed an unprecedented 2 slots to Lagos. Yes. That then brings into question this thing about BASA, that it was not reciprocal. They didn't do the same thing. So in that as well was indignity to Nigeria. We've argued that frequently about the fact that when they enjoyed these privileges in terms of 3 slots to Nigeria, it was not reciprocated. Nigerian airlines were not allowed to fly in, and even when they did eventually, were asked to go to Sharjah, 1 slot per day. Your take on this?
So, first of all, the second slot they had to Lagos was the Basa agreement. It was supposed to be a Nigerian-operated flight operated by Emirates. So they paid us per seat. Any passenger that was on that flight, Nigeria got revenue. Now, but the European airlines and the American airlines were like, we've been with you for 50 years in Nigeria. You've never agreed to give us your own Basa slot to operate the London flight. You've always said you are keeping it for Nigerians. But why are you doing it to Emirates? Emirates was perceived as Nigeria's major ally. We wanted Emirates as an ally because it opens us up to the Eastern economies. From Emirates, Emirates is the biggest major hub now to go to China, India, go to Singapore, Australia. Emirates was a throughput for Nigeria. And we saw it as a major help for Nigerian businesses. So one would think that Emirates will reciprocate that gesture because the British Airways confronted me, said, you haven't done this for us, but you're doing it for Emirates. We said, yes, because we want a Nigerian flagged airline. When I was minister, I came up with the idea. I said, look, let's forget about owning an airline. If there is any local airline that meets the standards we will set, and they meet these standards, we will confer them a flag carrier so they can do our Basa trips. Now, even you just mentioned, when they allowed Air Peace to come, they didn't allow them to DXB. They took them to Sharjah. We said, okay, I'm sure Nigerian government at that time, I wasn't minister at that time, so they agreed to that, and okay, that's fine. But the problem is that when they decided to act in this manner against Nigerians, they willfully forgot all that they have benefited, all the opportunities they've been given to them. They didn't even have the courtesy to treat us with some manner and say, okay, government officials, people above 50, people with US and maybe UK visas, people on transit, you are free to go. No, they said total ban on Nigerians. If there was total ban in the other 20 countries, I'm not sure they will have been operating their flights. Meaning that in the other countries, they were deliberately managing the problem. But in Nigeria, it was total ban. So I am yet to understand. Nigerians should demand, what did we do wrong? What is this thing that was so egregious to you people that you didn't only now stop your airline, you gave us a visa ban? What is that problem? We need to know it so that we can resolve it as two countries. That's my point. So that when we are resolving it, we come from the point of a country. We are behaving as if, and Nigerian elites are worried. Many people said, oh, you shouldn't be talking like this. Dubai can ban you from coming to Dubai. I said, but what do I want to go and do in Dubai? I don't know. I'll be in my village. So the problem is that we need to behave. Elections are over. I am talking as a Nigerian. Now, let me say this. I'm 53 years this year. If Tinubu rules for 4 years, he finishes in 2027, I'll be 56. If he does 8 years, I'll be 60. Where in my time will I have to enjoy a Nigeria? I don't believe that after elections we should be billy-badding about politics. We should be talking about governance. I want to see running water in my life, in my house. I want to see lights restored to my house for 24 hours. I want to see it in 60 years. All my age mates who are in the public service will be retiring. In 7 years' time, they'll be leaving the public service. So I am concerned that I don't want to be 65, 70, still living in Nigeria discussing about running water and roads and lights. So my attitude is that I will always constructively offer my position. Nigeria should not behave in this manner. People in government tend to forget that this country belongs to all of us. It's not a government business. And I am very surprised that the minister will leave the very serious issues of Emirates Airline enjoying unprecedented favor in Nigeria and reciprocating with such venom and hate over non-payment. And they didn't do that in any other country that was owing them.
But he also talked about Nigerians living abroad, and he talked about Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, this Dubai talk, because this talk also comes.
What has Atiku Abubakar got to do with me?
No. I know it's got nothing.
I don't want to discuss him.
I know it's got nothing to do with you.
That's his choice.
But this talk is also it centers around that level of patriotism and Nigerians that are seeking elective positions, living in other countries. They're like, oh, why can't we grind in this country together? That's a factor.
I am grinding in Nigeria, so I don't want to represent other people's views.
But I also want to move further and ask you about this Turkish airline incident, because this is another one. Another clear disrespect for the Nigerian passengers. And apart from this incident, we've had many complaints of Turkish Airlines in the past, even the way they treat Nigerian passengers. And I also want to segue into the conversation of this back and forth with Air Peace. Now, at first, the disrespect of airpeace when they first went to Gatwick, where they didn't even give them the normal welcome, water cannon welcome. It took a while. It took about after 3 or 4 flights before even Gatwick officially put it on their social media platforms and all of that. I mean, if I can get the, the Turkish incident, the Turkish airline incident, and also the airpeace incident that professionally they are saying that we should be able to. Oh, okay, the Turkish airline incident, we'll call for that now, and I think we just throw to that. And
no representative of Turkish Airlines came to address anybody. They haven't spoken to anybody, even pure water. Nobody was given pure water. Not to talk about any voucher to buy food or a hotel. Young, old, infants, small children, people everywhere. The airline has not even bothered to address anybody. And the Nigerian farm workers decided to smuggle the GM out. We want him removed from this country. He's not capable of running an airline. The aircraft went back empty. The aircraft was empty. There are more disgruntled Turkish airline staff over here. See all these people stranded at the airport. People backing young children. Women sleeping on the floor. See this child. This is a child here sleeping on a trolley because of this God-forsaken airline. These are all these people stranded. They've been at the airport for hours. See this young girl. Please move her face from the camera. See so many children. See. Well, you don't want to fight, so you think this is proper? You think this is proper? I live in Ikeja. I could have gone to my house and slept, but I'm here fighting because it's wrong. They can't do this to anybody else.
so just imagine things like that. Also, add that with, the way the authorities at Gatwick had to come out and pretty much like lambaste airpeace for a matter that airpeace said they had given their responses to before now. This constant beat down of Nigeria. What do we do about it?
That's what the minister should have addressed. That's what he should have addressed. If he doesn't address Emirates, if we don't react to Emirates, we don't react to Turkish, we don't react to Gatwick, everybody will continue doing the same.
No, but he reacted to Gatwick in all honesty. He issued a statement standing solidly by airpeace and saying he's not going to take anything being done to airpeace.
That's fine. That's the point I'm making. He shouldn't make excuses for anybody. The quantity of trade, whatever be the benefits Nigeria have, can be put on hold to make our point. That's the point I'm making. So for Gatwick, I know that the Lagos-London route is a very interesting route. It's a route that the European airlines are holding tight to. So I did that when I was minister. I made it possible for airpeace to get that slot. So I authorized him. I said, any of the BASA things, if you meet the aircraft requirements we have, take.
But why did they even give us Gatwick? Not Heathrow.
No, Heathrow is at 99% capacity on its 2 runways. That's why the argument for the 3rd runway has been on. And Europe and Britain has been complaining. The citizens have refused, saying it will bring in more aircraft, more carbon emission, it will bring more noise pollution to the Heathrow area. For 7 years, the conversation has been going on. Heathrow has been consistently saying, we are at 99% capacity. If we do not do this 3rd runway, we will lose our sport as a major hub to Frankfurt, to Paris, because those ones have more runways. So Britain, the UK has serious issues about constraint being made by the UK people, which is the point I was making about even the issue of the coastal road, that Nigerians should be able to determine how we do certain things.
What's your take on that coastal road issue? We've not really had on that coastal issue.
Road to nowhere. I don't think there's any...
What do you mean by road to nowhere? They say it's going to open up everything.
Yes, it's opening up
it's going to open up everything. So what's your take on the buildings demolished around there, the cost spent? Isn't the government justified?
No, the government is totally unjustified.
How?
And I've written a reasoned article to show them that where we are today in Nigeria is that people that manage Nigerian roads don't know Nigerian roads. So that's why they're talking this way. If you know Nigerian road, he doesn't know Nigerian roads. I'm sure about that, because if he does, he will know that from the Ministry of Works data, 47,000 vehicles leave Lagos average daily traffic towards Ibadan. When he gets to Shagamu, 27,000 turn off to Shagamu. When he gets after Shagamu to Benin, he reduces to 18,000. Where is the 50,000 traffic that will use the coastal highway?
Okay, Osita, I know you worked with Ojo Madweke.
I was commercial.
No, apart from that, I think detailed on that
Yes,
fact, please,
yes.
Dr. Matthew, before you come in, just detail on that fact. So you now say, where is this?
Where is the 50,000 going to the coastal road? I said, what we need in Nigeria today is we need to expand Lagos, Shagamu, or Benin. Benin, we have a bypass already taking you to Onitsha. Onitsha takes you to Owerri. Owerri takes you all the way to Port Harcourt. These are dual carriageways. Fix them. Then come back to Ogbomosho, Ibadan. Go to Ogbomosho, go to Bida, Jeba, Mokwa, and go to Kanu. Continue the dualization that is already ongoing on that road. Complete it. Now they've completed the Akwanga Lafia Jos. Continue the Makurdi 9th mile to connect Enugu Port Harcourt Expressway. We will never forget President Tinubu. That will have opened up Nigerians' highways to vehicular traffic.
Okay, but the
This is a waste of
Tinubu
time.
administration has not said that they are abandoning those roads. I have not seen any statement to that effect anywhere.
So
it's not as if those will be abandoned.
No, it's not abandoned. It's that the budgetary provision for them, none of them will be completed in the next 20 years,
Well,
as they are the budgetary allocation I'm seeing yearly. So the 1.4 trillion that is going now to a new road, I am saying, if you want to build a new road from Lagos, my suggestion is remove the ports in Apapa. Take them to the Lekki axis. Build a road from Lekki to Ijebu, the 100 kilometers. You will join that national highway. And then use that, even at their 4 billion per kilometer that the coastal road will cost, that will be just 400 billion. Do that new road, move the ports there, and you will see that Apapa will be reclaimed. We will restore Apapa, where Chief Awolowo and all big elites in Nigeria used to live. That is no more, it's now totally unlivable. We will restore Apapa as the Singaporeans are doing now. They are removing Tanjong Pagar, they are removing Tanjong, 2 ports from the city and moving it to Tuas. The whole idea being that these waterfront lands will become available for mixed development. And I said, you don't need to go to the coastal highway at this time.
Some of these issues have been there, even before now. Number one, you say you like an opportunity when you're about 60 to enjoy, good water supply and all that. Well, you better brace up for the future. Professor Wole Soyinka, who has been involved in activism all his years,
Yes.
he will be 90 on July 13. I'm not sure he gets regular electricity supply or enjoys water. Papa Adebanjo is 95, going to 96.
My father is 97.
The children who were born, the children who were born when the non-Nigerians, when either they join service or they join politics, they themselves have become grandfathers.
Yes.
Both their children and they themselves, they are not enjoying anything. So you better brace up for the future. As a rule, I'm uncomfortable when predecessors in office criticize their successors. But it's a question of choices and a question of tone and all of that. However, Festus Keyamo, in some of the statements that he has issued, he has said what he's trying to do is to defend Nigerian Airlines, flag carriers, whether it's Air Peace or it's any other line, yes, along the major routes. And it's in that context that he has talked about Emirates. It's also in that context that he intervened in the Gatwick airport matter. Now, come to Turkish Airlines. The NCAA claimed that they have commenced investigations into what happened. I think that was on Tuesday, when over 300 passengers were stranded at the airport. And what happened? The NLC, Labour Congress, are taking a decision to picket Turkish Airlines on the grounds that about 7 persons were sacked and more persons were to be sacked, Nigerian workers, with Turkish Airlines. What is the excuse? The fact that they went and joined aviation unions, NUATE particularly. And this brings me to the question, whether it's Emirates or Turkish Airlines, what is it in the management of our aviation sector that foreign airlines will come here and treat our people shabbily, ignore our laws, and take their own decisions. And the Nigerian government is always holding the short end of the stick. You have a Minister of Aviation. What is it in that aviation sector that is the problem? Because it's not enough to just blame the outsider. We are part of the problem.
So I don't think anything I have said is about exonerating the aviation industry. But I'm talking about setting the tone for agencies to behave within their rights. The example I give people is, without an Obasanjo, there wouldn't have been a Nuhu Ribadu or an El-Rufai who went about restoring the Abuja master plan. The first day he went on demolition, Obasanjo came out that Saturday morning, went with him to the park where they demolished the first buildings before the demolitions took off in Abuja. He showed support. I'm saying the Nigerian state should make it clear what are irreducible minimums for any sector. If the UN agencies are coming here to do HIV studies and go in the health sector, we must establish the protocols. If it is in the aviation sector, we must establish the protocols. It's not a bad thing. Aviation, let me tell you the problem. People think that aviation is is high net worth, big pen, but aviation is like every other transport mode. The airport is like a motor park. It's like a port. And if you see the workers in the port, in motor parks, National Union of Road Transport Workers, I'm lucky to have worked across all those sectors. They behave the same way. In aviation, the money that runs FAN comes from these airlines. Their salaries, everything, come from this monthly ITA deducted money. So they get the dollars, they get the payment. Nigeria has the highest taxes in the world. When you apply from a Nigerian airport, look at your tickets, look at all the taxes listed out. It's in Nigeria that you have the highest payment. Almost 220 to go to the US. From the US end is about $80. So these people are besotted to foreign airlines. So it takes the minister or the head of the agencies who are outsiders to come to terms to say, this no more. Because they are looking at their salaries, their well-being, their survival. So the foreign airlines, if you notice, they give them prime slots in Nigeria because they know that that is where their bread is buttered. And it's human behavior. So it is these behaviors that when I was minister, I was negotiating to change. I'm saying, no. Foreign airlines are important to us. Our revenues are important to us. Our business is important that they will move around. But we mustn't do it without our national pride. We must do it in line with, because there are many countries who rely on aviation. Ethiopia, they rely solely on aviation for foreign exchange. That's one of their major foreign exchange earners. But still, Ethiopians have taken it so serious that no airline goes to Ethiopia to mess up, because Addis Ababa is also a hub. Why is Lagos not yet a hub to take people at least south of Africa and towards South America? Because we still look at these foreign airlines with some, with the airline, the workers, the civil servants, are not thinking beyond their own salaries and work. So it requires that leadership. It requires the staff to know that the leadership will not support this. That when you step out to tell the foreign airline, this is not correct, the minister is not going to call you back in the evening and say, why did you do that? So that's why I'm calling on the government to set the tone, to use the Dubai thing. We are happy you want to come back, but we just need some clarification. What happened? What did we do wrong? And what has been resolved since we didn't come to Dubai? What has happened? So we can also talk to our people. We can also check who are those we're allowing to go to Dubai. We want to know, who are these people that are causing this crime in Dubai? Can you give us their names and everything? So that we will also check and say, don't give visas to people between the ages of 25 and this, or let them get a certificate from Ministry of Police Affairs before they go to Dubai. Something. But we need to engage, to let our people know that our nation, our sovereignty, our pride has no price.
I think it would be difficult to imagine that conversations and engagement didn't happen before Emirates was allowed to come back in, because we've had the reason why the minister was able to give a date in view was because he had said conversations were ongoing. So I'll find very difficult to imagine that this topics didn't come up during conversation. But again, it's left to them to let us know what actually transpired. But in terms of improving the aviation sector, I love how you just brought it down to the fact that it is a transportation hub, just as you would have the motor parks, you would have the ports. But we've had challenges in fixing making it efficient. I can't imagine how Lagos will be a hub, because even for us, it cannot compete with the number of airports. So if you look at the airports or this hub, it cannot compete favorably with many others, even on the African continent. What are some of the challenges? Because I don't, even during your tenure, you were not able to fix these challenges as well, if truth be told, in terms of having us have an airport that works efficiently. Pervasiveness of corruption, like you've cited, with regards to where the bread is buttered. How do we begin to fix these issues? Because at the end of the day, what we want, is for a Nigeria that works, a Nigeria's dignity restored, airport, aviation sector that is efficient, not just to complain. So what are some of the things that must be done to ensure that this is put in place, so that we move away from complaining about the aviation sector and actually begin to see progress?
Well, you see, one of the big challenges in Nigeria is that we always refer to problems as if they are infrastructural problems. So every time we focus on fixing infrastructure. So our airports are not working well. Let's build new terminals. Our terminals are old. Let's build another one. Let's add new ones, because if you go to Ghana, if you go to Dubai, they're building 40,000 man airports. That's fine. We are forgetting that the basic issue of Nigeria today are governance issues. Governance. When I became minister, one of the first things I did was to arrange with ICPC to raid the airports and arrest everybody that was collecting bribe from people who were coming in. I didn't tell the President Jonathan. After the operation happened, I came on there numerous calls. The customs said I embarrassed their staff. The DSS said I embarrassed their staff. We collected them with money. We had cameras. We took them pictures. So I sent the pictures to the president. I said, every time a visitor comes into Nigeria and you tell him how you did and you collect money from him, you demean us as a people. So I need to cure that problem. He said, I support you. I said, I need to cure that problem. They have bags where they kept the money. They have people that collect and go and keep somewhere. We went after all of them as minister. And I didn't make so much noise about it, because for me it was an ideological issue. If you are going to work in the airport, then this is the ground rules. Then they said taxis cannot come to the airport. I said no, because the fan staff and people involved in the airport own the taxi slots. I destabilized that system. Then I put in an airport passenger system that tells you what time a flight took off, what time it landed, to tell you the fidelity of airlines to their schedules. Every week, the first week I published it, it was 28%. By the time I did it for about 4 weeks, the numbers rose to almost 54%. People now knew that the minister was watching. Governance issues are the root of Nigeria's problem. The fact that the toilets in the airport, when you get to them, they'll give you tissue. Somebody is standing. I told the MD of the fan, I said, every airport you go to, you see toilet roll holders. He said they take it. I said, no, people have made the ones that have key. You put it, you lock it. So I'm giving you 48 hours to buy them wherever they are. I don't want a contract. Just go ahead, send somebody, go and buy it and fix it. It was fixed in all the airports. Immediately I left. They removed it, because anytime I landed in any airport, I went straight to the toilet. If the toilet is not clean, I take pictures. I say, airport manager, remove him immediately. Because for me, this is Nigeria. If you land in an airport and you enter the toilet, that's your impression of Nigeria. As you move around Nigeria, nothing will show you in Ikoyi or anywhere will impress you. What you'll be looking at is what confronted you when you came into Nigeria. So the governance issues are the issues. They are not public issues. They don't give you popularity. They don't give you something to commission. But we need to go back to the recruitment process in our aviation industry, to the quality of staff. When I was in minister, the first survey I conducted, we found out that 92% of NCAA staff were administrative. Only 8% were technical staff. Why? Because everybody was giving slots to everybody to bring people. So we now started the process of reversing that trend. I believe in data. Minister, everybody we should confront the governance issues in Nigeria, not new infrastructure.
I get that. And, I have a long history. If you remember, when you were still the boss of FRSC,
yes.
I did a lot with Microsoft, and you came for a presentation at that summit. That was the first time we met, so I know you and your data. 1 year in office, President Tinubu, how have we fared?
Well, it's one area that I'm quite fair to President. I'm quite sympathetic with President Tinubu's government. They've taken sensible economic decisions. They've taken sensible economic decisions. We can't continue printing naira and sustaining the dollar at the rate that we know was not sustainable. And these are difficult decisions for a government to take. They've taken very sensible economic decisions. Now, the decision on the fuel prices, on the subsidy, the decision on the, what I will call the foreign exchange, and the aggressive monetary policies I'm seeing now with the exchange rates and with the interest rates, what the CBN is doing are, for me, sensible economic policies. And it shows to me that APC as a party is not ideologically coherent, because this is a almost drastic opposite of what Buhari believed in and what he was doing. So I give them kudos for what I call sensible economic policies. Now, those sensible economic policies will come with a backlash, because it will dispossess the poor. It will create income, problems. Incomes will no more match outputs. So people are going to suffer. Now, the ability to navigate that, to wield a national consensus around this, to create the transparency, to create the feeling of inclusiveness that makes Nigeria feel that we are together in this boat, is lacking. I believe the government should step back and rethink its appointment strategy, its engagement strategy. You can't wake up in the morning, announce a coastal road, and within 3 weeks you're demolishing. There should be conversation. There should be engagement. I believe that those sensible Western economic policies, and I don't have alternative, so I can't say they could have done it this way. I believe they are sensible, but I believe that it has to go hand in hand with a careful planning on how to manage consensus. Now, where we are today is 8 years of Buhari's government. We can't wake up in the morning and switch a light and everything will change. The 8 years of Buhari's government did great damage to Nigeria. So to turn it around will require some more work.
Osita, thank you. But before we go,
thank you.
We started with Keyamo,
yes,
Minister of Aviation. You have also been Minister of Aviation. You gave one piece of advice, that he should grow up and stop behaving like a child. Do you have any additional pieces of advice for him relating to his main assignment? Briefly, because we need to go now.
Well, I think he has the capacity, the knowledge to think through. He has a whole bureaucracy with him, so I expect him to be able to figure it out. No further advice. I expect him to figure it out.
Osita Chidoka, former Minister of Aviation, for joining us on The Morning Show.